Hello and welcome back to Underlab. In my recent Head Scientist poll, only K. Jensen requested a video. His suggestion was that I look at perhaps some of the more outlandish possibilities within Undertale, that don't necessarily have huge amounts of evidence to support them, but are far from impossible. So I decided to create a top 10 video going over some of the craziest ideas that could very well be possible. You won't see me asking whether Sans is Ness however, as I'll only be using theories that I come up with. So it's time to take a look at the 10 most unbelievable Undertale theories. Number 10 is FRISK a monster. This is an interesting possibility that may seem like it couldn't possibly be true at first, though hear me out. Firstly, FRISK doesn't really resemble a human being at all, to the point that we can't even work out their gender. Chara or Kara on the other hand, who's known to be a human, has a pale complexion befitting of who they are. You could argue that FRISK is meant to be a stereotypical Asian, but somehow I really doubt that considering that it would almost be borderline racist. Secondly, FRISK shows the monsters nothing but empathy and compassion, something humans apparently don't have to care about. They really act nothing like the humans we've been told about in-game. You may think that FRISK's determination makes it impossible for them to be a monster, but remember that UNDYNE is somehow determined despite also not being a human. Therefore, it's far from impossible. The red coloration of FRISK's soul could mean anything, as we don't even truly know what trait the colour red represents. I don't have the time to go into any more depth here, but the more you think about it, the less impossible it seems. Number 9. Did the 6 humans come back to life? As we know, Asgore took the lives of 6 possibly innocent humans in order to fulfill his dark plan to break the barrier. While he was correct in believing the power of 7 souls could shatter it, it came at a heavy price, as Toriel left him in shame. However, at the end of the pacifist route, Asriel uses the power of the humans combined with every monster's soul in order to break the barrier, before sending them back to where they came from. Every monster comes back to life, but what about the humans? If all it takes to restore someone to life within Undertale is to give them back their soul, there's a good chance that the humans got up and left the underground, and we see proof of this when we examine the coffins during the game's epilogue, as the bodies have apparently disappeared. Number 8 is Alphys completely insane. When we first meet Alphys, she gives us the impression that she's a benevolent monster who only wants to help us. However, just as soon as she's done warning us about her robotic creation, Mettaton attacks us. She organises for him to put us in life and death situations over and over again, just to earn our trust when she saves us from him. She's also responsible for all manner of disturbing experiments within the true laboratory. They may have been directed towards a good end, but that doesn't account for their almost sadistic nature. If anything, Alphys' obsession with anime seems to be pouring into her work. For example, why did Mettaton need to come equipped with a chainsaw? Alphys is extremely unpredictable, and she's potentially suffering from bipolar disorder. There's no doubting then that Alphys has gone a little off the rails. Number 7 is CHARA'S soul used to power the core. Here's a theory I've talked about in length already, and you can watch a full video explaining it called The Core's Greatest Secret. However, it just had to appear on this list, as it's a crazy though almost logical theory. When Chara died, Asriel absorbed his friend's soul. He then died as well, and we have no idea where Chara's soul ended up. Alphys says the core generates magical electricity through a mysterious process. That is to say, she never tells us. Could it be something to do with the strange red soul within the generator we see within the true laboratory? Is this just a decal of a soul, or is it really a human soul? If so, is it Chara's? It seems very possible, as we know for a fact that Chara's soul is red, and who knows how much all that determination must help the giant machine. Number 6. Why does UNDYNE cover up her eye? UNDYNE is a pretty brutal character who never stops fighting no matter what. Proof of this is her missing eye. That's never explained no matter how much we play the game. It's just accepted that in one point in time, she started to wear an eye patch. What if, however, she's covering up not her eye socket but something else? On the genocide path, she shows us her true power when she becomes the Undying. During this time, a strange power seems to shine through her eye patch, implying that either magic or determination itself is pouring through her body. It's very possible that she wears an eye patch just to try and restrain all the power that she possesses, as it seems when she becomes the Undying that it tries to escape her. Like some sort of anime character, if you took off her eye patch, she'd probably become more powerful for a while, before eventually burning out. Number 5 is Undertale all a dream. Maybe the events of Undertale happened at one time, but who says the time we play through is present day? This could work as FRISK's eyes are always shut, which may imply that the character is actually asleep. Additionally, there's many things within Undertale that just don't make sense. Why do we experience one of Chara's memories within Waterfall? How exactly are we able to reload from save points as if nothing happened? Why do characters sometimes break the fourth wall, such as when Flowey calls out people watching the game and when the intro screen glitches after he absorbs the 6 human souls? While it could all be artistic license, maybe it's simply a distorted version of what really happened. Should we choose to live with Toriel, the game ends on showing Frisk in bed, which could very well be implying that the human has been asleep this entire time. For all we know, what we experience is just Frisk dreaming of their eventful past. Number 4, what is the legendary artifact capable of? Here's another theory I've been over in more detail already, and I've included it here as I arrived at some pretty interesting conclusions. The legendary artifact is a red orb we find behind a hidden entrance in Waterfall. Before we can access it, however, the annoying dog steals it away. While this was probably done for the sake of a joke, what could the artifact have done if we were allowed to pick it up? During the introduction sequence, we see a human mage clearly wielding a scepter. Monsters don't seem to need any implements to cast magic. To summarise my full theory, I speculated that the legendary artifact is a sort of spherical crystal that could be used to harness the power of magic and allow humans to use it, as the Snowdin library tells us that they can't. This explains 2 mysteries at once. Number 3, did Gaster send himself into a future devastated by Chara? Here's one more theory I've already discussed in the past, titled What was Gaster's final experiment? Once again, it's a pretty crazy one, so I thought it was well worth including on this list. Gaster is an obscure secret character within Undertale who's only referenced to by NPCs that you can only see by messing with the game files. One particular reference to him comes in the shape of a message written in Wingdings that talks about an interesting experiment. Gaster mentions the phrase, "The darkness keeps growing." This is never explained, though I theorise that Gaster may have used a wormhole to peer into the future, and there he encountered the character we know as Chara. There's a lot more to it than that, so watch the full video if you're curious. Number 2, why do we name the fallen human? If you didn't know already, the character I've been referring to as Chara this entire time is actually the character we name at the beginning of the game. Chara is simply known as the true name. So why exactly did Toby allow us to name them instead of the character we actually play as, who's the human Frisk? A popular theory that I've also speculated on is that we only play as Frisk during the pacifist route. We only discover the human's name on that route as well, implying that on the neutral and genocide path, we're not actually playing as them. Instead, we could be like some sort of remnant of Chara, which explains why Frisk and Chara look so similar and why both of their souls are red. This may also explain why our actions result in their resurrection at the end of the genocide path, as otherwise there's no real explanation. Perhaps Chara used Frisk's body as some sort of phylactery for their soul in order to gather enough power to bring them back to life, but this can only occur on the genocide route. Number 1, did the undead monsters in Undertale used to be human? Here's a throwback to my very first Undertale theory that I still believe has quite a lot of evidence backing it up. There's at least 6 undead monsters within Undertale, and those are Sans, Papyrus, Napstablook, the Mad Dummy, Metaton, and debatably Gaster. In my theory, I argued that each of them could quite easily represent one of the traits of the 6 humans. Is it possible, therefore, that they were originally human before dying and being reanimated as monsters? It always struck me as drastic that Asgore would resort to killing innocents, so perhaps he found a way to let them live after death. Why they would then become loyal to the Monster Kingdom is a mystery, but who knows for certain what's really going on. Maybe they're under Asgore's control, or they completely forgot their lives as humans. One example of this I gave is that Sans would be Justice, due to how he judges us and the fact we find a badge within his workshop, which I speculated to be a sheriff's badge. Watch the full video for all of the details. Well, that's it for my top 10 most unbelievable theories. I hope you enjoyed this look into some of the more creative possibilities within Undertale. I certainly tried my best to pick out some of my more mind-blowing theories, and I hope you enjoyed the entirely new ones. Tell me which one you liked the most in the comments, and whether you have any incredible theories of your own. Anyhow, try not to die and be brought back to life as a skeleton, and I'll see you next time. Before I go, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to my patrons. My head scientists Asgore and She, Cameron Vigil, Kay Jensen, Sophronius, and Zoada Vionta. And my Underlab scientists Crystal Sleet, Nicholas Dux, Armin Arlett, Marisa Ray, Corey Kidwell, Yusho Groni, Sarah Wydra, and Emily Gatewood. Thanks to all the names you see here, this channel is able to keep going. If you enjoyed this video, please consider checking out the Patreon link below, as well as the video that explains why I'd so massively appreciate your contribution.